My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. Here we go. We're live. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another live stream. Happy Wednesday to you, and I hope you're doing well. We've got people in the chat. Shout out to the hashtag early gang. What's up to Andrew, Franco, and we've got Denise in the chat early here. Ivan, of course, my good friend. Thanks for being here. Johannes, how's everybody doing? Thank you guys for showing up. We've got about 100 people just as we get started here today. So hopefully we'll give people just a minute here to trickle in as we get started. And we'll talk about a couple things that are going on in the world of markets. Now, as far as I can tell, the story still remains as a little bit of concern around the variant situation, as we talked about in yesterday's video. If you watched that video, I talked about kind of my thoughts on the whole variant situation. Of course, I mentioned I'm not a medical professional. I don't have like a final answer on what's going to happen. I don't think anybody truly does. But we did talk a little bit about how it may impact markets, which the shorthand story is short term. I think it could be a little bit of a drag on markets. And that's kind of what we've already seen. And I expect that we could continue to see on things like the US dollar. Now, why would that situation bring the dollar down? Well, what it might do to the dollar, and it's not necessarily, in my opinion, like a long-term thing. I don't know yet, right? We don't know exactly the impacts of a new variant yet. We saw Delta variant was kind of quick, right? It was kind of a scare in markets, and then things recovered fairly quickly. But, each one is somewhat unique. So anyways, the idea being, if lockdowns are coming, if there's shutdowns or anything like that, that of course is nothing we want to happen. But if it happens, that has certainly had impact on markets and likely will do so again. So we'll keep tabs on that for sure. But short term, I do think that the dollar, little bit of struggle here. And yesterday we saw that crazy pop. I mean, did you guys see that move? Look at the dollar yesterday, right? So the dollar yesterday was just having a pogo stick day, right? Came down, bounced up, came back down, tried to come up again, back down, right? It's just going all over the place right now. And I do think that kind of is just the way markets are perceiving things right now. They're uncertain. And that's why, for example, if you were to look at this thing on a daily chart, it's not that great of an example. I was gonna say maybe it looked more like a doji. That's why they kind of say, a doji pattern, right? A very simple candlestick pattern, a big doji like this, right? If you have this candlestick, it often is visualized as being indecisive in nature. So for example, maybe you have a day where things go very bullish, right? In the beginning of the day, and then they come back down. And in the second half of the day, they come all the way back down, lower than before. And then by the end of the day, there's a rally back, right? So when this sort of thing happens on a daily perspective, like we kind of saw yesterday, it's a very ugly doji candle. It's not really a doji candle, but you see what I mean? It just shows indecision. And that's kind of the way markets are perceiving things in general right now with the US dollar and the variant situation. Of course, none of us know for certain what's going to happen. If you have opinions, as always, feel free to make your own trading decisions. But for me, it's very, very uncertain right now. And if anything, the dollar is looking like it may be due for a bit more of a retracement. So we'll just draw a quick trend here just to show we are at the lower limits of this trend, but it does seem like we are trying to make a little bit push further down. Now, I'm not really willing to go short the dollar personally. That's not, I think that there are other trades that I'm happy to kind of take positions on. I'm not really even, necessarily bearish on the dollar. I just think that short term, it has the possibility of making a pullback play that may be a little bit more of a dip. For starters, right? A reasonable dip to me means a move back down to something like 94.5. It's nothing crazy. It's not game changing. I mean, that is a pretty good haircut off of the highs of the year. But the point is, with the new variant situation, it's very possible that things can go all over the place, and very possible we see a little bit more of a dip. Please, what's happening on the market today? I don't understand what's going on. So the variant situation, right? The Omicron, whatever you want to call it, new variant is concerning the markets. And when we see that sort of thing, that causes volatility in markets across the board, not just stocks, not just currencies, gold, everything, right? Commodities, oil, everything is impacted by the latest developments. Sometimes traders say they don't want to trade news, but unfortunately, when it comes to markets, it's inevitable. The news is what drives the markets, right? Fundamental research and analysis is kind of key, in my opinion, because that's what's really driving these prices one way or the other. So, what we'll do is we'll take a look at some individual currency pairs. Let's do it together today. Welcome to the stream. If this is your first time here, my name is Nick. I talk all about trading and investing, and I try and keep it real. We just do real Forex stuff here. No Lambos, no mansions, none of that. We just try and keep it real. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoy that sort of content, you just want to talk trading and learn stuff for free, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get it rolling here. So we'll start out with EURUSD here, switching over to this chart. And quick view on this from the daily chart. I mean, this thing is overall net bearish, right? You do have the daily chart still very much intact to the downside. And the question is it is it just going to roll over and die and continue this trend? Or is it time for a little bit of a reversal? Now, during this time, I would have just said, just keep going with the flow. I'm short biased, nothing but sells here. In fact, during that time, I was very dollar bullish and taking lots of trades, right? In fact, I have been for the last few weeks. Not on the euro, but my favorite currency pair during this time has been AUD/USD on the short side. So maybe we'll look at that in just a little bit. But so the idea here with EURUSD is the question is it time to short it again, or is it going to actually burst higher? Well, I do want to take a look really quick with you guys really quick. Let's see, a1trading.com. I'm going to head over to the website and I want to show you guys something. So if we go over to the website, this is a1trading.com. You guys can use this site anytime you'd like. This is our website. We have all sorts of stuff. People writing articles for our site. You can join our free newsletter. We have several people who are contributors to what you guys see throughout our network. Yes, you see my YouTube channel, but there is a lot more stuff that you guys can get completely for free. So go sign up for stuff on the website, join our newsletter, for example. But anyways, I want to show you this, the retail sentiment first. So retail sentiment, let's go look at EURUSD. So euro dollar, 65% of traders are long, okay? 65% of retail traders are net long. Does that mean that it's absolutely going to go down, right? Because if all the retail traders are long, maybe it's probably going to go down, right? Well, that's one thing to consider, but there's more to it than just that. Hey, look at that. Bart says, I see the article I posted this morning. Hey, Bart, I saw that you watched the stream yesterday. I didn't mean to ignore your message. It's just that there's a lot of them. And I oftentimes see messages when I watch back the streams later. So good to see you, Bart. Thanks for being here. And yes, Bart is one of the contributors on our website. And he does a great job. So good stuff. Thanks, Bart, for the article. What is that? Pound dollar deep dive. You know what, Bart? We're going to put you on the spot, my friend. Let's go take a look at that in just a moment when we get to pound dollar. So anyways, just finishing my thought there on euro dollar. Okay, so euro dollar, right? Euro dollar overall in a bearish trend. Like in my view, 4-hour or daily chart, bearish trend. 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, though, I don't know. Things look like they may have a bit more room to pull back. Okay. So again, one more time with the daily chart, I just want to show you guys this. It's very possible that even in the context of this downtrend, we have room for a deeper retracement than this. In fact, I think at some point it's kind of inevitable. This thing has been trending not only down, but aggressively down here. So we've been accelerating to the downside recently. And I think that at some point that sort of tends to normalize, right? Markets don't go one direction forever, right? It's great when they do and you're on the right side. Like I said, I've been dollar bullish and that market has just been screaming higher, which has been great for some of my trades. But I do think it's very normal to expect maybe a bit more of a bid on the euro dollar. And sure, there's still maybe opportunities to short it, but I think maybe being a little bit patient on some of these pairs and waiting for a deeper retracement is the name of the game, at least in my opinion. So my thought would be, yes, I still like euro dollar short. I'm not really willing to go long personally. I know my friend Ivan is looking at some long opportunities, and I do think that in the short term there is that possibility of a little bit of a correction on the euro USD. I'm actually a fan of that. I think that short term, if you're a 4 hour, 1 hour chart trader, 15-minute chart, maybe there's some opportunities short term to look at that euro dollar with a closer view. And you can see, just how aggressive the bulls seem to be. Check this out, you guys. So euro USD, right? Let's get our trend line in here. Very, very simple idea here. Nothing magical with the trend lines. I had somebody who freaked out on us yesterday in the chat saying, "Oh, you're an idiot if you use trend lines. You suck, Nick." All this, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying, as a very simple concept, before someone freaks out again, you do have these higher lows coming into this market, right? Higher lows just show a general demand for the market, and I want to show something very interesting. So you guys remember that massive candle yesterday, that big volatility that we had come into the euro dollar? Well, look what happened after that big spike down. Again, huge sell pressure came in, followed by equally, if not more impressive, bullish pressure, since this happened on a spike and this happened over several hours. So, what that's showing me is that short term, it does seem like buyers are in control. They've been trending this thing higher, right? Higher lows in this market, recovery very nice from a big sell off. It seems like there's some heavy handed buyers on the euro USD, at least in the short term. So, there's your 1 hour view. And again, if we're saying that a reasonable target retracement could be up to like 1.15 on the euro dollar, that gives us room to make plays, right? There might be some rooms if you're a shorter term trader, maybe there's some opportunity there. Now, what did we say earlier? We said, but Nick, retail sentiment is net long. So why would we want to go long? Well, this is where things get tricky, because what tends to happen is at the end of a trend, retail sentiment is generally at a peak, right? At the end of a trend, we see so many people, like for example, in a downtrend, right? We see net buying, 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 buying. So when we get to the bottom of the trend, inevitably it's going to reverse at some point, and a lot of times that's where we do see retail sentiment start to peak out. That's not there's no timing involved in this, because that's not very helpful. I'm just saying that just because retail sentiment is one way doesn't mean that it absolutely cannot go further. Like I said, I still like the idea of shorting the euro USD if it comes up to a significant level. I just think that short term there may be ideas of entertaining a little bit more bullish pressure, especially if you can get above some of this structural resistance that we have here and here. So 1.138 and 1.134. That's my opinion. So, maybe a trade setup there that you could look for is breakouts, retests, things like that. If you're short term looking for bullish pressure on the euro USD. Just my thoughts, just my opinions. And like I said, at the end of the day, I am still bearish on this pair, but I'm just not bearish down here. I'd like to be a seller if we got a little bit more premium of an offering, right? Somewhere up here. Yeah, I like that. I like that opportunity a lot. But down here, not super interested in rushing to short this thing just because it's been so sold off. And oftentimes when we get that snapback, you get that big jump back the other direction. So, at a uni lecture at the moment, but we'll watch the stream back to see what you have to say about the pound dollar article. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks, Bart, for the article. Oh, thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, man. I go all in on this. Thanks, Trader Nick. Please don't go all in on anything. Make your own trading decisions, and please be careful. It is no joke to lose accounts and blow accounts and make dumb mistakes that you regret later. Always risk small. Always, always, always play the long game. Don't try and short term make a ton of money, because it is a quick way to the poorhouse. Trust me. Nick, is it okay to trade these days? Markets are so volatile. Hey D, good to see you. Well, here's the thing. Every day is volatility is either your worst enemy or it's your best friend, and it's usually one or the other. And it's impossible to know if that volatility is truly going to be in your favor. So D, here's what I would say. if the volatility seems really high, if things are very confusing to you, but you still see a setup that meets your criteria, maybe you consider taking it, but maybe you take a smaller position size, right? That's always an option. If you're unsure if things are confusing to you, you can always reduce your position size. Maybe instead of taking zero point 0.1 lots, maybe you go to 0.05, right? Something like that. Maybe you just keep it real and you're like, okay, you know what? No worries. I'll just drop my position size. Things are a little bit crazy right now. I'm just going to trade smaller if I find a setup until things get back to normal. Does that make sense? Markets are indeed weird, and yes, there is some manipulation going on. But to try and the thing is, a lot of times people get so caught up in the idea of manipulation that they never actually they just believe the market is so rigged and so unbeatable that they're always just oh, the market just always is out to get me. But I don't know, I find that to be distracting too, because if you get too caught up in trying to always catch who's after you and all this stuff, you never actually just develop plans and strategies and work around it, right? So what if it's manipulated? Honestly, like, it doesn't really matter. You can focus on blaming something like, oh, it's the market makers, they're out to get me, or whatnot. But at the end of the day, just find a strategy, trade small, do it over time, and grow accounts. That's the name of the game. So anyways, on to pound dollar. And of course, we've got to go take a look at Bart's article, because I told him I would. So let's go look. Heading back over to the website for just a second. Let's see what Bart has to say on the pound dollar. So pound dollar under pressure. Let's see what Bart has to say. So yeah, Bart is one of our article writers on the website. You guys, there's so much good free stuff on our website. Please go check it out, and please bookmark it if you haven't already. Put your email in, things like that. We'll send you free updates and analysis and ideas and stuff like that. And then of course you can find brokers, all sorts of free trading help, things like that. So just check out the website for sure. But anyways, so price has been mainly traveling in channels throughout the past year. As we've seen, the ascending channel formed post-COVID last year. Price began retesting all previous key horizontal levels. Over the past couple of months, price has now formed a descending channel and likely making its way back down to lower key horizontal levels to continue the long-term trend. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I do like the fact that Bart is pointing out that the pound dollar has been trading in some very good long-term trends, both initially to the upside there in 2020, and then in 2021 taking a dip and actually continuing to trend lower. So here is another chart view. You can see there's that channel that we're talking about and continuing lower. And then of course, little retail sentiment thrown in there from our friend Bart, which is good stuff. So you've got, of course, the pound dollar, which at the time of writing his article was at 36% short by retail traders, and at the very same time, 63% long. So that's something interesting, right? So retail traders are betting on the pound. They're betting in the favor of the pound against the dollar. And the scary thing about that is that when all the retail traders are doing one thing, it can be really risky to be on the same side as them. Because what do we know about retail traders? They tend to lose money. So um, yeah. So, yeah, that's the idea. So we can continue on. He's got fundamental outlook. This is kind of interesting stuff. The Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee team argued that it was way too early to discuss the timing or size of rate hikes, while reiterating that inflation expectations were still underway. That kind of tells you a lot right there. What that tells you is that they're really still far away from talking about rate hikes. Meanwhile, in the US, they're talking about them now. Or at least they have been. They might pause on that due to the whole variant situation. But in general, the US is talking about it. And the UK seems to have sort of a dovish tone compared to them on that. Um, yeah. So, of course, as always, you guys go feel free to take some time and go read through the articles being published on the site. Bart does some great stuff, and so does Frank, our other content writer, and all the contributors over there do a great job. So, big shout out to all the writers on the site, and of course to you guys who are actively reading and following along on our newsletters. Again, lots of key stuff coming out. If you're serious about your trading, get on the newsletter. It's free to do, and you get tons of good stuff headed your way. So, yeah, let's keep moving along here. So there's the pound dollar. Pound dollar in general, in my view, Similar, very, very similar to the euro dollar. I would like to short it, but I've got to see a little bit more of a retracement. And look at that daily candle, you guys. That's a pretty aggressive daily candle. You've got a ginormous pin bar. There may be some short-term bullish pressure on the pound dollar. So maybe there's some opportunities. What if we drew a where's that old tool? The regression trend. There it is. Let's try this out. So yeah, we're getting close to the upper limits, but you know, maybe a little bit more pressure to the upside and find some horizontal levels. You know what? Actually, you know, it might be kind of a clean trade. Let's see. 4-hour chart. We do have some structure here and here. I mean, there's an argument for that. There's an argument for that level. Deeper retracement might come up to 1.35. It's not the cleanest trade, in my opinion. I mean, there's this. I do like this a little bit more. I just think personally, you know, the pound dollar has made its move. Like, it's made a really good move. It doesn't mean it can't keep going, but I do personally like the idea of getting in on a sell if we can get a little bit more of a retracement. So that's my just opinion there. I do have a trade on dollar CAD. It's not going so well, as you can see. So let's look at the 1-hour chart. So I bought dollar CAD here at support. I mean, well, it's not going terribly either. It's just kind of sitting around break even. But I ended up taking a dollar CAD long trade here today, just in response to the whole new variant situation. The thing is, I would expect that if the variant situation continues to be a conversation or a concern for markets, if that tends to continue to play out, it's possible that the dollar CAD could rise. Now, why would that happen? Well, let's break it down for a second. If we're looking at USDCAD and things get hairy or scary for the market, right? Just in general, global markets get fearful around the variant situation, that could cause the CAD to come down. Why would that cause the CAD to come down? Does anybody know? Let's see if anybody has an answer in the chat. Why would further fear around the variant situation cause the CAD specifically to come down? Does anybody know? This is tell us one good trade. I'm not here to tell you trades, my friend. I am here to just share my thoughts and opinions. I'm not here to give signals. Please make your own trading decisions. And yes, oil, correct. Oil prices, oil falls, less oil demand. Exactly. So, and again, I might be completely wrong about this, but this is just my opinion, as always. So I did like this supportive level, which is part of the thing. But again, a lot of times traders get so caught up in just purely looking at the technicals, and they might say, well, you know, where do I get in? Oh, just buy at the support level, sell at the resistance, all this and that. And I get it. It's very simple, but again, I think that markets are just a little bit more complicated than that. Trading strategies can be very simple. Don't get me wrong, but I think that paying respect to what is actually driving these markets around is pretty important. So for me, yes, the oil market, if oil is to continue going down, right, which it's taken on some heat, I'm saying this. I'm saying, okay, the variant situation has the potential to scare the oil markets, right? Or scare markets in general. That would cause the oil market to come down. And if the oil market comes down, likely what follows is the Canadian dollar. Okay. If the oil market comes down, the Canadian dollar likely comes down as well. Why would that be? Well, because again, less demand for oil due to a pandemic, less shipping, less traveling, less airplane flights, things like that, right? All sorts of things around the energy markets can be locked up. Canadian dollar would come down because the Canadian economy is heavily built around energy, oil, right? So in that case, I decided, okay, I have a bearish bias on the CAD for now. I could be wrong about this. Like I said, I'm not here to predict. I'm just saying that that has the likelihood or possibility to weaken the CAD. And hence, I'd like to buy the dollar just because I've been dollar bullish. So I ended up saying, okay, here's my idea. I'll buy dollar CAD here. And again, this might not work out. This is not like me telling you after the fact. I'm telling you in the moment what I'm doing. I took a buy trade on the dollar CAD. Stop loss underneath structure here, right? If price goes down, no worries. I'll just stop out and I might take another trade somewhere else or pick another currency pair that I like. But, I like this idea. If the market gets fearful, if things continue to rally for the dollar CAD, my plan in that case would be to trail stops and to let this thing run. Any of you guys who have been watching me for a while, you know generally how I trade. I like to trail stops. I like to let trades run. And so that's my thesis. Again, I am loosely bullish on dollar CAD. Well, I mean, I am bullish on dollar CAD. Obviously, I have a long position on my account here for a reason. Is it, like I said, please don't take that as like Nick's long, so it's going to go up, because it certainly could come down. And if that happens, I will stop out, and I'll be happy to stop out before, I'm more wrong, right? That's the whole point of a stop loss. The reason I have a stop loss on a trade, you have to ask yourself, what's the point of putting a stop loss on your trade? It's because you're going to take losses sometimes. Trust me, I take losses fairly frequently. My losses just tend to be smaller and my wins tend to be a little bit larger. So Alex says, Nick, stop buying. You can see the future. Yeah, you're right. I can. I totally can see the future. I wish. If I could see the future, man, I could just be a multi-bazillionaire trader, but unfortunately, it's not that easy. Add in heating oil. Yes, correct. Absolutely. EURUSD. Yeah, you know what? We'll take a look at EURUSD just because that's one that we haven't looked at in a while. And my poor producer is going to be like, what the heck? I don't have that currency pair. You never look at this one. But we're gonna try something new here. EURUSD today, just because we're going off the CAD situation. Now, this is an interesting one. Okay, so let me say this. So, okay, the EuroCAD specifically, and this is the cool thing about currency pairs, you guys. I don't know. I really, why I've always loved currencies is because I love looking at that big macro idea, right? Instead of looking at an individual company, which is still cool. I love stocks too. I don't get me wrong. I invest in stocks fairly frequently. But I like currencies a lot because we can take this into consideration. Okay, globally, if the variant becomes an issue, this euro could see more upward pressure. And trust me, I'm not a big fan of the euro. That's why I didn't buy the EuroCAD. But the euro, just from a risk-off standpoint, if things get scary, the euro likely will get strong. And if things get scary, a double catalyst is that the CAD, like we just went over, could come down. So the EuroCAD currency pair could actually be a really interesting play on a long trade if you think that the variant is going to be a continued issue for global markets. Now, remember, you guys, we could say the exact opposite. If you think that markets are going to quickly get over them, which to be fair has happened several times before, right? I guess not several. The Delta variant, right, was fairly quickly digested by markets and back to normal. In that case, you might actually take the opposite trade. So someone might say, I think that it's blown out of proportion, and I think that the euro is actually going to come down, right? And the CAD is going to strengthen. Now, short term, I'm more in favor of the red scenario. I think that markets are going to, at the very least, respond to and be a little bit concerned around the variant for maybe the next few days, maybe the next few weeks. My bet on that is why I'm long on dollar CAD. So EuroCAD, I think, is a fairly good idea as well. In fact, if you just get a simple trend line here, you do have something kind of happening here today. You've got this little wedge formation. It does look like EuroCAD is trying to break out, and it's already got some momentum in this market. Again, we're looking at the 1 hour chart, and I hope that made sense. Real quick, did that make sense to anybody? Is anybody picking up what I'm putting down here? Just let me know. Just say yes if that was helpful to you at all, and say no if you did not get any of that, if that made no sense to you. I'm just trying to make sure the message is being shared. Hi, Rohan. Great question. So, hi, Nick. I have a question. If two currencies strengthen, what will happen in the market? Thank you. No problem. Happy to help. So, the basic idea is that whichever one is strengthening more will go up, right? And whichever one is strengthening less will go down. Now, if they're like bank on even, if both of them are up by like 0.2% on the day, then that market won't be moving anywhere, right? If two markets are strong at the same time, they won't move much. If one market is strong and the other is just neutral, it will move. And if one is strong and one is weak, it will move massively. Either up or down, just depends on which currency is strengthening. I hope that helped. I hope that made sense. Okay, cool. Good. Thank you guys for that feedback. Appreciate you. Tough question that. Yeah, it can be a little bit confusing, but I hope that made sense. Anyways, so EURUSD, right? Little wedge formation. Overall, does look like it wants to try and break out, honestly, just from a like a technical formation. It looks like it's trying to continue this momentum. We had a huge, honestly, this would have been an amazing trade if you were in that now. Of course, we're speaking in hindsight, and that's easy to do, but something here on the pullback side of things may be interesting. Now, like I said, I already have a trade open on dollar CAD, but look at how much room this one does have if it does reverse. Like if we see this thing on the higher time frames make a little bit of a push here in response to the variant, you have a lot of room, right? You very well could even see price head back up to this daily level on the EURUSD. For example, let's look at the 1 day. You'll see what I mean. Here's that daily chart, and you've got all the way up here. That is a move. If price were to come all the way up there, that's 225 pips, give or take. That's a pretty good move there, just in terms of upward swings. Now, like I said, this is risky stuff because you're talking about kind of going counter trend to what's been the dominant force. But again, if you think that the variant has potential, there may be some opportunities to do some counter trend breakout trading, things like that. Please be careful. As always, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. Please be careful, make educated decisions, risk small, don't be dummy, be smarty, and be careful as always. Again, markets are not a place to mess around with your money. Dollar CAD. Oh, look at that, you guys. I'm positive I could close out right now and I could make 50. Oh, I can make $1, $2. Let's go. Keep going. Just fly on up. Just go. Woo. That would be awesome. Right on camera. No, it's probably going to take its time. It does seem like dollar CAD is just consolidating here. But again, this is kind of why I chose this area. You can see it is, generally speaking, trying to hold this area. I bought right here. So I've been sitting on this trade. It went in my favor. I was up like $75 and then it came back down and then it went negative. And now it's just, I've got $7 open. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe I should go close it and go get a coffee. Chandler loves that joke. My producer, he loved that. I said that one time in the video and he's like, we got to film this whole thing about, getting coffee, and that would be funny. So I don't know, maybe we're forecasting a skit for another video, but hope it goes to the moon. Thanks, Wilson. Oh, nice car, Wilson. Yeah. So we'll keep tabs on it for sure. It will fall. It very well could. You might be right. Overall, like I said, I do like it long, just for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. We'll just have to see how things are going. Real quick, I want to take a look at, I want to see how things are going with the S&P. So the S&P taking on a little pressure, and that's actually probably what's helping out my dollar CAD position right now, is the SPY seems to be coming down. Now, SPX 500, if you don't know what this is, you don't care about it, well, you probably should, because even if you're a currency trader and you're like, I don't trade indices, still valid to look at indices. It is very, very important, in my opinion, to keep tabs on the indices because they will also have big impact on the currency market. If the S&P 500 is coming down, generally speaking, that can be more perceived as risk off, right? And remember, my dollar CAD idea is very risk off. It's oriented towards the dollar going up, the Canadian dollar going down. CAD is generally speaking a little bit more of a risk on currency. So the SPY coming down would be favorable for my dollar CAD or Euro CAD positions. So yeah, that's the idea. Powell was very hawkish while testifying before the Congress yesterday. He is testifying again today. Thank you for the update. Definitely could have more impact on markets. Some USD news today. Great. We'll keep an eye out for that. But let's go check that out. Just thank you for the reminder. We'll go take a look at forexfactory.com, see if we can find anything happening today of impact. And there it is. So we've got Fed Chair Powell testifies. So anytime this guy speaks, it definitely has potential to seriously move markets. So keep tabs on that for sure. But again, stock market coming down a little bit today here on the 1 hour chart as we get going. We'll have to watch that one to see how it goes. But I imagine that if this thing keeps coming down, you probably see dollar CAD come up. Little start to the breakout. Again, we will have to keep tabs because the first hour in the stock market is a crazy one. It can go up, down, sideways. I've even seen it go backwards before. So, does some crazy stuff. But yeah. So we'll watch that one for sure. Last thing I'm going to do is just a quick view of gold. Take a look at this guy. Gold is really, really just choppy right now. And as we've mentioned in the previous streams, looking at the 4 hour chart, really, there's not a whole lot for me to say outside of what I've already been saying, which is I'm really keen on a breakout of 1810 before really getting interested in long side action. This thing is very choppy back and forth right now, so not a whole lot of interest for me there. And then, of course, the big one is 1830. Right, so 1800, 1810, 1830 is another level. We got to zoom out so I can get this all the way over there. Bam. 1830, and then, of course, 1865. So a couple levels to think about. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is, okay, if I'm bullish, right, if I'm generally thinking that the market may perceive things a little bit hairy from the whole variant situation, I'm saying stuff like this, right? Breakouts, retests, breakouts, retests, breakouts, retests. So in this case, I could see myself taking buy trades with fairly tight stop losses, stuff like that, right? Just looking to go with the flow, but I have to see that the flow is actually there. A lot of times, it's very easy to get caught up just buying something as it's bleeding out. And for me, when it comes to gold, I just like to be buying it when it's on the move, not when it's like dying, right? If I'm selling it, I'd love to be selling it when it's trending lower. But right now, I just like the idea of buying gold on a break, due to the fact that, again, short term, I think that there's some risk off sentiment that is valid in the markets with this whole variant situation. That is not anything based on my political views or anything like that. I'm just saying I think that that's how markets could perceive it. And again, I mentioned this yesterday, but I'll repeat it today. One very important tip I can give you guys is I don't care what political affiliation or opinions you have. If you can leave them outside of the markets, you're going to be better off. Because sometimes you have an opinion and you bring it to the markets and you get all offended when it doesn't go your way. And that's just how people are in general about politics. So leave it at the door. That's an opinion that I hold very strong. Leave your political opinions or affiliations if you care about that stuff. Truthfully, I'm not that big into it. But any opinions that I do have, I leave. Check them at the door. Because if you bring your opinions and you get emotional and your heart involved in trading, it's really dangerous. So don't do that stuff. Yeah. So please be careful with whatever you do. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. Before I go, I do want to just say, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Thank you for joining me today. Love to have some of you guys join me back in the future for more streams. So make sure to hit that notification bell next to the subscribe button. And with that said, my friends, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back tomorrow. Well, look at you. You made it to the end of another stream. Thank you for being here. It really does mean the world to us. We love doing this every single day, and you being here really makes that all possible through YouTube advertising, things like that. Helps to pay myself, the staff, everyone here that you see involved. With that said, we've got more free trading help. As you guys know, as a big thank you to you, we are constantly putting out free content, and we've got something real special for you. Down below in the description, there is a link to access our questionnaire. If you have any questions about things like risk management, price action, technical analysis, you can actually ask your question or get some help on those topics just by going down below in the description. There's a link, click it there, and you should get some help fairly quickly. So with that said, check it out down below, and we'll see you back in the next stream.